there are incentivized groups. We can call them elites, we can call them the oligarchy, you can call them the swamp, call them whatever the hell you want. But there are people who are incentivized to keep us divided. There are
Yep.
people incentivized to keep us disempowered. Um, but we have one strategic opportunity. This is what I'm trying to take to bend that. Right now, the people who they pay to keep us divided are the least popular they have ever been.
Hmm.
We have to sit with that and think about that. The people who want to control us are the least popular they have ever been.
And,
We have a clear shot.
and
You yourself made a comment about, we institute a national draft tomorrow, there'll be riots in the streets, right? I think a commenter maybe said
yep,
that,
yep.
and
A
then
commenter
you
did
read
say
it
that.
off. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah, yeah. And part of that is that JFK line, right? Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. But there is a balance to that, right? Like at the end of the day, we have to be certain that when we ask citizens to do something as important and solemn as potentially sacrificing yourself for the greater good, whatever commonwealth we call this nation, we have to make sure that there is a real commonwealth, and that's not just some nice thing we say. Right. There's a growing movement, and it's a bipartisan movement right now, talking about universal service. Right. So this is a little bit bigger than just a temporary draft for a single contained conflict or a series of conflicts. This idea has gained a lot of steam, and I've been thinking about a lot about it. Right now, like I said, we're in a little bit of a legitimacy crisis, and a lot of my campaign and where people will first sort of see me. And we can talk about how I decided to launch this in the weirdest way possible.
Yeah,
But
I wanted to get the draft part first, so that way we can ask about what that other.
of
Yeah,
course, of
yeah, I
course, of
wanted
course.
because that's still on. I still on the tip of my tongue, and I didn't want to lose the fire. So
Yeah, so let's send it. So let's go with I support an idea for universal federal service, universal uniform service for all able-bodied citizens that works towards one, like remuneration for their actions in service. I want to give just baseline. I want to give higher pay to enlisted members in the United States military. I think that's something that would positively influence outcomes in our lives, both as people who continue to serve and as veterans. I want to make sure that there are robust packages of benefits that are still there. You can Google. There's been a lot of cuts to veteran services, especially over the last 2 years.
mhm.
They just ended a veteran home loan program that was keeping veterans in their homes, and this is something I've been very heartbroken to read more about. Yeah, so we want to make sure that when people sign up or when people are called up to duty, that the nation that they're serving is behind them. And when there is a greater commonwealth, that commonwealth really does remunerate them with something valuable.
Mhm.
Um, so I think there is a vision for this package where we have universal service, as you kind of hinted. We incorporate pacifistic routes for people who are morally, ideologically, or ability-wise unable to participate in schemes of armed conflict. Um, and we revitalize programs that are currently being defunded and taken apart, like AmeriCorps, USAID, and AmeriCorps, specifically AmeriCorps Vista, right? To reinvest in this nation and increase our Commonwealth.
Somebody asked a question: with an increase of Social Security and government programs, how would you finance it without raising taxes? That's a good question.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I don't want to raise your taxes. Unless you are part of a very exclusive group of Americans, I don't want to raise your taxes. I do support shifting the tax base and shifting the tax burden. So I go in depth. Oh, my little camera setup's fallen. I like to do things very low rent around here, but
You're good, man. You're good.
I get a lot of comments on TikTok about the coat rack, my coat rack vice president. I've grown to love him. Okay, so yeah, I want to shift the tax base. I want to shift the tax burden away from individual contributors at the middle to median and below end of the scale. I want to shift the tax burden away from individual contributors, in fact, entirely, and onto standing capital reserves.
Mm.
What that really means is I want to tax accrued wealth, I want to tax dynasties, I want to tax AI and automation, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to cut your taxes. That
Mm.
is that is part of my economic agenda, and it has been since I started thinking about this. Look, so we have all the data to indicate that right now automation is going to be displacing work. Automation is going to continue to displace work. Oracle just laid off 30,000
Yeah.
workers. I think like what on Friday.
Yeah.
Um,
Sort of the VA.
uh,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and yeah, no, 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 please, please. And Oracle at least is saying, we're going to make room for AI improvements and investments in AI. Okay, so we're talking about taxing things to fund things. Right now, the Treasury has called our situation insolvent, right? Because of the current operations in Iran, that we are just not taxing the wealthiest members of our society enough to fund. That is purely it. They own they own everything. They're the reason everything is not affordable anymore.
Hmm.
And we're still expected to carry the tax burden. That's insane.
Hmm.
That to quote the words of my first battalion commander, that dog don't hunt. That's crazy. So my scheme is simple. I want to go where the money actually is, and I don't want to hurt the economy while doing it. So I want to tax accrued wealth that is not being actively reinvested,
Hmm.
and where wealth is being actively reinvested but accrues too heavily and is over rewarding itself, like stock buyback schemes, right?
Mm. Oh,
I want to tax that heavily.